And her kind of saying, I wish that you would get your audience to treat people differently. And me saying, well, I'm not really going to do that. But I talked to Dave last night. His thing was they should all go on. It's like Ellie should go on. Robbie Fox should go on. Kate should go on. So we asked Kate from Barstool to come on yesterday. She declined. I guess she reached out to Steve in early afternoon or something?
No, she sent me an email when we were in the middle of the show yesterday, just explaining why she wasn't coming on. Then she sent a follow-up email by the time we were off air, just saying, hey, can you give Kirk my phone number? I'd like to talk with him.
So I called her, and we talked for, I don't even know, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And it was fine, but very nice conversation. She was very pleasant. She was really shook up. It seems like this is really shaking her up, I guess.
Yeah.
She's gone through a lot of stuff. I don't know the history of her mental illness. I don't know if it's tied into the fact that she was overseas or in the military or not. Or I have no idea. Maybe something she's had her whole life. I don't know. So she basically, and I mean, do you have the Chap stuff cut up or no? The radio stuff from last night. I mean, essentially, with what she says to Chaps is pretty much our conversation, pretty much, and it kind of was a constant thing of her saying this stuff and me saying, well, I understand. Okay, I'm sorry you're going through this, and her kind of saying, I wish that you would get your audience to treat people differently, and me saying, well, I'm not really going to do that. Sort of a back and forth that neither one would really give, but it was pleasant, and she's very nice. I thought that maybe she wasn't, and then I spoke to her yesterday. She is. She's not like a phony. There are phonies, and she was genuinely, I think, nice, but genuinely shaken up, and what cut do you want to start with here? No, I'll talk more about it because it's better to hear, I think, the sound react to it.
Just hurts when she starts talking about the harassment, and then we can play the specific ones that jump out to me.
The Kirk Minihane, his show, they picked it up, and he did a thing about it, and then on his show, and then put clips out about it and yada yada, and then right away, it was almost immediate. And I got texts from people too, like, oh, he just put...
And she didn't say this to me because this is actually factually inaccurate. She said that she wrote a column. And then I talked about it on the show and put some stuff up, and then she started getting reaction. She wrote the column on a Friday.
Right.
We were not on the air till Monday. We didn't react right away when she wrote it. She got a reaction to it. that is just not.
I think I sent it to you, and then you tweeted it out saying, "What a fucking headline" or something like that.
No, but clips,
I know, but I'm just saying there were no clips. Yes,
no, there were no clips, and the reaction is not the reaction. Like I said, believe me, I'll cop to it when the reaction is due to us. Of course, that happens all the time. This was, I think, just a shared common sense reaction to in my opinion, a poorly thought out and poorly written column.
Well, that was my problem with the whole thing yesterday, and then listening to her today is that it wasn't about this show. Like, it wasn't the same with Ellie or K Marco. That's different where you are saying, like, these are enemies now. That we talked about a Kate column or a Kate blog that was already out there before we even discussed, and that she was getting shit on all over the place for it. Not all over the place, but on Twitter for it a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it's the Minifans coming after me comes from, because it's just wrong.
I happen to think on this one, she's very sensitive to the situation, which she admits to. So when somebody admits to it, I don't really have a problem with it. As opposed to being like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Like, it clearly affects her and she wants to have a conversation about it. Okay. I'm not sure that you should be writing columns like that if you're going to not like the blowback from it, but that's a different conversation. Where do you play next here, Steve?
We can play her kind of talking about communicating with the other people at Barstool.
So I think this is really the crux of it, and we're going to have Robbie Fox on in a few minutes anyway. And I just think there's this little mafia now who hates me, who hates the show, and they are complaining. I mean, Kate is not. Dave told me that. I saw him tweet that last night.
I assume that's Ellie, right? She said it on her podcast.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm thinking. I mean, Dave didn't say that, but I think he said it without saying
it. She did, basically.
Without saying it, right. Like, I think that's what's going on, and they're complaining. I'm not sure she's the only one. And there's this little, K Marco, Ellie, Robbie Fox, I suppose. I'm not sure Kate, Mafia, where they talk to each other and they hate the show, and that's life. But
it's going to be funny when Barstool finally unionizes to get rid of Kirk Minihane.
That could happen.
their one labor demand.
And I would say Kate's in there only from the sense that she mentions here, like, Kirk's gone after some of my friends and people that I love at Barstool. Right. So it is all kind of that, they're defending each other.
Right, and they don't acknowledge what they've done wrong, and Robbie Fox come on a little while, and I've always liked him, but we'll react to him in a second. Go ahead.
It was almost immediate. And I got texts from people too, like, oh, he just put, you're about to get blasted. Because people know that's how it goes. He puts you on blast for something and you get shit on.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Tremendous cut. All right, what else? What's next? What's this one?
yes, everybody has free speech. Everybody can do their own thing, but there's a certain, I feel like you can't tell your followers what to do, but I do feel like there's a certain kind of tone that you can set where hey guys, actually not great. I don't really love that. I think if ZBT followers are doing that to people, me, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I'd be like, how the fuck do we stop this? Holy shit, this is bad.
That's not, I don't think, an unfair thing. I really don't. I just don't, it's not how I operate. But I said to her, because that was kind of our conversation essentially back and forth yesterday, where she'd make her point, I'd make her my point, then she'd go back to that, and I would go back to my point, which is just philosophically, we have a difference of opinion. If you write something, and by the way, the other thing is, and I said to her, nobody was bothering you.
Yeah, I think it's a little, even if they were, I think it's a little unfair to say I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if people were bothering someone else on social media.
Well, I think she's...
That's just, unfortunately, people are assholes on Twitter. That's just reality.
I would just say, don't write stuff like that. Don't write stuff that's going to open yourself up to real criticism. Write about funny, stupid stuff, and then you'll be fine. But if you want to wade into the territory of stuff like that, where you're saying, who gives a fuck about... And she can say that wasn't her... And I'm sure she actually cares about what's going on in China and Hong Kong. But when that's your dismissive take on the column, well, people are going to jump on you over that, especially right now, especially given the climate, especially how Barstool's attitude has been toward other stuff and their attitude toward me. That's just, and I'm not going to... I said to her, and I said to Clancy last night, because he said a lot of the same thing. And I was like, I am not going to say to my audience, you know what, guys... Don't be negative on Twitter anymore. Don't criticize. It's just silly. I'm not going to tell a human being what. I'm not interested in that. I'm just not. I'm not. And people may think that I'm being an asshole then, and that's fine. But I would say, and I said it to Kate, and I would say it to Ellie, I would say it to K Marco, I would say it to anybody. It's easy to say, harder to do, but maybe you should just, if you're going to write stuff like this, ignore the fucking comments. Just ignore the comments. Believe me, we all fall into the trap. I fall into the trap too. But sometimes you just got to say, I'm not going to look at these comments. And if Kate didn't look at that one comment from Turtle Boy, then none of this would have happened, correct? I
guess.
I don't know.
And it also seems not very self-aware to be like, I wrote this thing that is about a polarizing issue in this country, and the only person who disagreed with me is Kirk Minihane, and he sent all these people.
Well, that's just
people could have just disagreed with me.
That's intellectually dishonest.
Of course.
Right. And she probably knows that. I don't even know if we got into that. I don't even really care. Because I said to her, I was like, it's really not like on my end, it was over. We did it for a day. We do this stuff. We moved on. And by the way, this audience had moved on. I'm sure she got one or two tweets a day on a tweet from some people who are like, you fucking, hate America. So you know what I mean?
But that'll always be, whether it's Minifans or someone else, that's always going to, unfortunately, that's what Kate's always going to get if you take a stance politically.
Right.
You're always going to get shit. I have people on Twitter that think I'm like a Trump supporter or something, which is fucking stupid.
You can't, just block everybody. I don't care. If you want to block everybody. Right. Whatever. And then they'll, I don't know.
It just seems like the Minifans have become a convenient boogeyman.
Well, everybody hates them at Barstool.
Yes.
Everybody.
And they can't criticize Kirk Minihane. They have to criticize the fans.
Which
is different than other shows.
Yeah,
other shows, you're just going to criticize the person. Like, other fans of shows don't get criticized. No one's criticizing the daddy gang.
That's what Kevin Clancy was saying last night. He's like, I really like you. He's like, I don't like your fans. I'm like, well, okay. I love my fans. I don't know what to say,
And the other thing is,
there's no sense of humor. It's nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing. Nobody listens to the show here. That's the other thing.
And it's also, are the fans really more harsh on people than you are? Like when you criticize, you know what I mean? You go after people pretty honestly.
Sure, but the difference is a Kate or a Robbie Fox or a Kevin Clancy or whoever can call me and talk to me about it. Well, they can't call each one of the fans and have a conversation.
But I also think it's that they're not actually listening to the show. They don't necessarily even know what you said.
So I think Kevin does to some extent.
Kevin
but
does, yeah. But the others will see a clip and then see a million responses from Minifans and say, "Oh, what a piece of shit."
So I like I said, I feel I have no hard feelings that Kate wrote something. Kate didn't do anything to us. She wrote something I thought was dumb, and I said it was dumb. Like I don't think she's malicious. I really don't. I do not think she went to Dave and said get rid. Dave called her yesterday because Dave likes her. I talked to Dave last night for a little bit. Dave likes her. He feels bad she's going through a tough time. He just called her. Like she did not. It's very clear. She did not say to him. She said it to me yesterday. She would never say, "Why is this guy here?" But even if she did, Dave would be like, "Well, at that point, Dave's
that
in
all
full,
seemed clear." Yeah.
Yeah, Dave's in full, which is good. Dave's in full fuck off mode. Like you don't like the guy, fine. I don't like him either. Whatever. But he's not going anywhere. Like I like what he has to say. I like the fact that he says it. And I like the fact that, you can fight. And I talked to Dave last night. His thing was they should all go on. It's like Ellie should go on. Robbie Fox should go on. Kate should go on. I texted Kate again last night. I said, anytime you want to come on. I haven't heard back from her. That's okay too. I don't mind that. But I don't know. What cut do you have next?
And I think too, it was compounded by seeing what happened with Ellie and with Keith and with other Barstool, but with you earlier in the year. And I know you guys talked to and sorted it out and everything. But I think having all that in my mind, and it was like 3 a.m. last night, and somebody tweeted something at me about being like a communist sympathizer. And it turns out the guy is not even like a Minihane follower, but he had a bunch of Minihane retweets in his thing. And I'm like, of course, it's another one. They're still fucking cut. Like, I was just at the end of my rope, and I just like.
So I mean, she said that to me, and like that's to me a perfectly legitimate explanation.
Yeah, I can understand. I've
but
been
we've all been there. Like I said to her, I was like, I have, but then it almost sounds. And again, you want to give me blame, but I didn't say this to her. Maybe I should. It sounds like it's not really my fault. Like like she got upset, which is totally understandable. It was the middle of the night. She's going through stuff. She saw a tweet. And I said this to her. We have all been there, and I would never say to her, like, hey, maybe next time don't do that, because it's easier said than done.
But they would say without you, they're not getting these tweets. The Minifans
Well, that's true,
aren't thinking about kids.
There's one specific tweet that she references that really hurt her, and it said it was something to the effect of, you didn't get enough killing Muslims in Afghanistan, so now you support what China's doing to the Uyghurs.
Yes.
No, I looked it up, and I found the exact tweet she's talking about, and the guy doesn't follow the three of us or the show account.
Okay,
so he's not a Minifan. So it's like,
there's also that
it's like this boogeyman thing, where, someone says something nasty online, so it's got to be a Minifan. Sure. I'm going to blame it on Kirk.
Yeah, of course.
And the other thing I don't like about that clip is the revisionist history that's going on, where suddenly we did something bad to Chaps when he was the one trying to get us fired for bullshit reasons. Well, no, I understand that, but then what did we do to K Marco?
What about K Marco or Ellie?
Yeah, but
they're friends with them.
I know, but I mean, you can be friends with them, but we have to live in a shared fucking reality. Right. We can't pretend like Chaps somehow didn't try to get us fired.
We would have Kirk's side. If the thing was reversed, we would have Kirk's side.
Because that's the objective reality of the situation, is that Chaps tried to get us fired. K Marco has continuously tried to fuck with this show.
Now, I will say on the Ellie one, like, we have fucking gone way overboard at Ellie. Like, I have no problem.
Stuff was just funny.
I have no problem saying that, but I mean, she called us racist, so I was like, fuck it. But I mean, if we gone like level 50 with Ellie when it maybe could have been level like 26, probably. Yeah, probably.
But at least we can admit that.
But I mean, we're not
trying to pretend like every person we've gone after went after us.
We all work for fucking Barstool. Like, this is life. This is also life. I don't know what you want. And then when it was either when I talked to her or somebody, she said on one of the shows, or maybe when I talked, I forget. Somebody was like, K Marco and Ellie, they can't even tweet anymore. I was like, well, actually, they really can. They definitely can. Now, they might not. I would say if I ever talk to Keith Markovich again, which I wouldn't want to, I would say the first couple of tweets are going to be rough.
Yeah.
Then they'll get less rough. Now, for him, they're always going to be tough. There's just no doubt about it. And his first tweet, I will retweet. Like, for sure. Like, that part of it there's just no doubt about it.
All right.
But, like, Ellie, if she starts tweeting out 2 months from now, nothing. One comment every 6 tweets or something.
Of course.
It goes away. It goes away.
It will be in your mind a little bit. Like, there are days where I'm like, well, if I don't want comments about my mom, maybe I shouldn't tweet whatever I'm about to tweet. Shit like that kind of sticks in your head a little bit, but sometimes it's even funny to get that, and over time it dies out. It's just like, that's social. I can't keep saying it. That's social media. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, you're going to get mean comments.
Sure. Now that being said, what'd you say? A girl?
If you're a girl like Kate, you're going to get mean comments all the time.
For sure.
It's unfortunate, but that's just the reality.
For sure.
Tell mom.
But I think that all being said, I do understand that, insecurities and insecurities they're a real thing. So I mean, I get that, like, that she's like, I don't want to do this because I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me. I do understand that, but I'd also say that's part of it. And also, I think she said with Chap, she got like a couple, one here and one there, tweet wise.
Oh yeah, she said it had completely died down.
Yeah, she got triggered. So on that one, I feel bad for her because, like I said, I know I have a pretty good bullshit detector when somebody's an asshole and somebody's not. She seems like a pretty nice person who got pretty rattled about this, and I feel bad, but she wrote it, and that's kind of part of it. Like, maybe next time, when she says she's rash and she wants to write something right away and not give it a lot of thought, maybe she'll take a fucking deep breath.
From listening to it, my thought was that she kind of felt bad that she made it about her, but it was also defending
her friends,
Ellie and K Marco, basically. Yeah.
Well, I would say I have Kate. I like. It seems she's very. I have no use for the other people. None. I mean, I don't fucking care about K Marco I just don't. I don't feel bad for them. And then, so yesterday...
Well, Kate has an explanation of why she did that, where the others don't. Like,
correct.
You can understand why Kate did that.
Well, Chap's just trying to get us fired. I mean, he kept his mouth shut yesterday, but, like, he tried to get us fired. Like, there's no... That doesn't even... Same with K Marco. I mean, they tried to fuck us over. Right. That's not even... The only thing you want to debate, like, you can make the case, I would disagree with it. Kevin did, for example, and others, like, why are you worried what Ellie Schnitt has to say? What do you care? Fine. That's a different, why are there birds in the background? Outside?
Oh, my window's cracked.
It's fine, but it's fine, Steve. Jesus.
I feel like birds chirping.
This old house.
I think it adds to the
NPR was, dude. What the fuck?
It makes you a little
Like
more
Charles Osgood.
Yeah, it makes you.
What do you have PTSD from the bird you murdered on
God,
Friday?
It softens your edges.
I forget what I was saying.
You're talking about
Jackson gets fired. Ellie, I don't remember. Great, Steve. That's fucking great. Anyway, Jesus. Anyway, so
Kevin thought you went too hard on Ellie.
yeah, whatever. So, and maybe sometimes things get lost because sarcasm is not a great. Sometimes doesn't read great on Twitter. I thought it was funny yesterday when they said we were the worst thing on Twitter on Barstool. That's funny.
Oh, yeah, well, that's
the. I mean,
Steve was right. That's a Gaz job, 100%.
yeah. If
he
you
heard the podcast and did that, 100%.
If anybody thinks that, like, you know, because Kevin was like, "Are you really upset? Were you upset?" I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I think my quote tweet was like, "We never get." I forget what it was.
Does the support never end?
Yeah, like it's like I don't.
But then Robbie responds.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So that tweet I thought was, I'm like, that's funny. Like, if you can't, I mean, really, and some of the fans are getting worked up about it. That stuff, like, that's when I understand to some extent when people like the Minifans get worked up about everything. Like, you do sometimes have to understand, like what KFC is doing or Cat. They like us. They actually like us. Like, they're playing along. That's a joke.
Although I will say them unfollowing us is an odd move on all social media. Instagram and Twitter, Barstool Sports.
Oh, dude, who cares?
Strange move. I suspect that's not a Gaz move. More passive aggressive.
No, who would that be?
I don't know. Someone else.
Could be anybody. There's a bunch of people with access to those accounts.
Well, who cares? I mean, I don't give a shit anyway. But I thought that was funny, whatever. And then right away, Robbie Fox. It's like,
to the rescue.
He's like, if you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. You don't like anything. I'm like, what? What the fuck are we doing? What? There's no, and I'll say, who the fuck are you to tell me to leave?